Welcome back to the final segment of our August County Commissioner's Corner TV show. We're going to start off with the United States Postal Service. Again, a favorite for all of us. No doubt all of us have seen some piece of mail go missing or stood in a long line waiting for a package to be delivered. So we have begun the process of reaching out to the Postal Service again to try to affect some change and some improvement, and offered, the towns in the county have all offered to try to assist the Postal Service in that regard. So I'll turn it over to Tamara just to talk a little bit more about, to Josh, a little bit more about what we're trying to do with the Postal Service.
Absolutely. You know, this was one of the key topics that we hear a lot about from folks in the community. For the last several years, but it seems to be really growing in terms of our reliance on our mail systems, right? We know so many people in our community rely on the post box service to receive their mail. And even if they're using the courier systems, we know that with the rising sort of post-drop delivery process, where you order something, and it's supposed to come FedEx or UPS, it still gets delivered to your post office box, or, you have a physical address that it's sent to, and there's so many challenges and complexities along that. So to your point, Scott, I think it was in April earlier this year, we engaged with our local postal service as well as the regional office, really trying to detail out the challenges that we in Summit County face as it relates to receiving mail and packages, and sending mail and packages. And we were disappointed with that initial response, basically saying, like many of the other federal agencies, understaffed, lack of resources, et cetera. But in the spirit of Summit County, we did not accept no for an answer, and responded and said, no, this isn't going to work. We need to have a sit down. So last week, I believe, Scott, you sat down with some of the folks, a little bit of moving in the right direction, and we'll see, sort of what are the next steps that we need to look at.
Yeah, so the Postal Service, we met with all the town managers, and myself met with representatives from the Denver sort of regional office, operations center. They expressed that based on some of the feedback they'd gotten from us, as well as from some of the citizens recently, that they had sort of elevated us on their list of priorities. They put us up towards the top of that list and are really looking at now the facilities themselves. They're going to go through sort of a audit of their facilities to try to identify how they might be able to put more package delivery boxes in place, avoid the yellow slips that folks are getting, that you got to go and wait in line to pick up the package. Are there other things that we can do within the county or the town to identify ways that we could do more cluster boxes within neighborhoods? Other discussions around facility expansion, or maybe small sort of satellite areas right on their property where they could put more boxes, those sorts of things. So they're supposed to be providing us with some action items and a timeline a bit later this week. Again, it's the 9th of August right now. So hopefully by the time you're viewing this, we will have gotten that, and we'll be on track with the Postal Service to get some things done moving forward and improve the situation for everybody.
And public comment has been an important part of that. So if you have ideas or suggestions, or just want to offer your support to what Summit County along with our town partners can do, send us your emails, and we'll make sure that they get sent to the right office.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Good. You guys, anything you want to add on Postal Service?
No, I'll just say there is a resident in Silverthorne who's particularly troubled by all this. He's working on a Facebook page, so stay tuned for that. It'd be another great opportunity for folks to share some of the struggles that they've had, and everyone sharing really does help us advocate for you. But the one thing that I ask folks to remember is that the people that are working at the front desk in the post offices, it's not their fault, and so I just want to ask everyone to remember that and to be as kind as possible to those humans. Those are tough jobs, and we really need folks to fill those jobs. Otherwise, it makes this whole situation worse.
Yeah, absolutely. Good
Thanks,
point.
Tamara.
Good point. Let's see. So again, it's the 9th of August. This past weekend, we were all covered in a haze of smoke coming from California and other parts of Colorado and elsewhere west. And so we had some air quality issues. It's important, I think, for everybody to know. So it's August. Our typical fire season in Summit County is September, October. And so it's important, I think, for everybody to remember that. So just going to turn it over to Tamara to talk a little bit about wildfires.
Yeah, so good news, we've had some rain, maybe even a little too much rain all at once, but certainly I, for one, am very happy to see the moisture. We're expecting a little more rain, I think, starting later this week. So right now, Summit County is not in fire restrictions, and we watch it day by day. Our sheriff meets regularly with our partners to keep an eye on that, and we all know that the conditions can change rapidly. So we'll continue to monitor that situation and go back into restrictions if the science and the data shows that we need to. Regardless, we all know that wildfire is here to stay, and it's part of our lives. And so while we aren't in restrictions, I would still encourage everyone to make good personal decisions. Think about whether or not you really need that fire. If you do have that fire, make sure you don't leave it unattended. Make sure that if it's a windy day, regardless of the restrictions or not, you're careful about the decisions that you make. But more on that, like Scott said, our heaviest seasons are September and October, and so hopefully we'll get some more rain, and we won't have the kind of fear that we had earlier this year.
Great. Last topic that we wanted to cover is budget, and so Tamara, that's you as well.
Yeah, so this is Summit County Government's budget season. As you all may remember, we convened a group of citizen stakeholders to create an advisory committee to sort of look through the county's budget and give us suggestions on things that maybe we don't need to do any longer, things that we need to start doing. The county budget is a tricky animal. A lot of it is defined by the state and rules that we don't have any control over. Half of our budget is actually initiated by the citizens of Summit County, and so those dollars are specific to the things that the voters approved. And then the other half is the general fund, and we obviously have a lot of commitments that we need to use those general fund dollars for. So we brought in a group of experts from the community who all have significant financial experience, and they are going through their process. We are all going through our process and meeting with each of the departments and really putting everything on the table. Like everyone else, we learned a lot of things from the pandemic. Some of those things we can keep, some of those things we probably shouldn't keep, and we'll be making those decisions as we move forward in the rest of the year. And we'll have our budget done by January 1st of 2022.
Yep, and we will have a recommended budget to you first or second week of October, and then in December you guys will approve that sort of final budget just for folks in terms of timing. So, yep.
Yeah, awesome.
All right. Anything else? Any other topics you guys would like to raise or throw out?
I'll just throw in a quick word about traffic and transportation because that is obviously a priority of mine. We know that there are a lot of what I'll call tension points across the county. All of us and the sheriff have been working pretty hard with Rep. McCluskey to help CDOT understand some of those challenges, particularly right now. I know Silverthorne is really struggling with the diversion around the canyon, and so the sheriff has a meeting with CDOT on Tuesday to talk particularly about that Frisco project and some of the mitigation that's not happening around that. And then I'm working to convene a group of stakeholders to talk about Highway 6, Keystone, Dillon through Silverthorne. So some updates on that in the future, but just know we all are very much aware of some of the pain points in the community around this, and we are trying to get CDOT to engage as good stakeholders to resolve some of those problems.
And I would add, we're never too old to learn something new. And there is a great YouTube video. In fact, maybe Brad can add it in after here, but there's a great YouTube video that shows how to zipper merge, and it's done in a cartoon way. How to zipper merge and why it works, and it really does make sense. As someone that drives, I feel like daily from Breckenridge to Frisco and get in that traffic all the time, it's amazing the people that I see, even locals who will not allow someone to zipper merge in, even though that is really the intention. That's why the signs say take turns, merge here. And so really important. We can all learn something new, and maybe that wasn't taught when we were learning to drive, but it's taught now. And so I would encourage everyone, again, it's that personal responsibility piece to learn how to do it, and it will take just a little bit of frustration out of one's day.
That is perfect. So my family and I went to New Zealand when my daughter was doing an exchange there, And they are, of course, well known for all of the roundabouts
Yes.
they have. They drive on the wrong side of the road as well. But they have at all of the roundabouts a little sign that says merge like a zip. And honest to God, they know what they're doing, and it works. It works really well. Traffic keeps flowing.
I like
and so
that.
I think
Merge
that's great.
like a zip.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Can we have our sound shop make one of those? Merge
sure we
like a
can.
zip.
I'm sure
I
we
love
can.
it.
Yep.
So,
So, learn
okay,
from
so
New Zealand.
take with you today, wear a mask in a public place and merge like a zip.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're encouraging. And don't start unnecessary fires.
Yes.
That's right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Stay tuned for lots of other great programming, including perhaps a YouTube video on zipper merging.